Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday a new snapshot for Minecraft Java Edition 1.13 was released. This is Minecraft Snapshot 17w47a. My name is slicedlime, I'm here to take you through this one, and it's a quite meaty one. Let's start with changes to blocks and items. There are now trapdoors and buttons and pressure plates for all the different types of wood. Pumpkins now come in an uncarved version. You can carve a face onto a pumpkin using shears, and when you do so, seeds will come out of the face. Pumpkins and carved pumpkins as well as jack-o'-lanterns no longer require solid blocks to be placed on, and this goes for fence gates as well. You can now place fence gates hanging in mid-air. There's also a new type of oak slab in this version called the Petrified oak slab. They look identical to oak slabs, but they have the properties of stone. These used to be referred to sometimes as the old type of bugged wooden slabs. Smooth sandstone has been renamed, it's now called cut sandstone, and this is making way for a new type of smooth sandstone. Monster egg blocks have been renamed as well. They are now called infested blocks, and infested blocks have changed their functionality as well. They now break instantly. Blocks with a collision box now have matching bounding boxes, so this goes for anvils, cauldrons, hoppers, fences, iron bars, glass panes, filled ender portal frames, vines, lily pads, stairs, brewing stands, and pistons. Collision box of anvils and hoppers have also been updated. Chests, they can now be placed next to each other even when they are the same type. Use a shift click instead of a click. Huge mushrooms, their stem blocks can now be silk touch mined. All of the 3 normal variants of the mushroom block are now available from the creative inventory as well. If you place 2 matching mushroom blocks next to each other, then the sides that touch each other will be permanently turned into the pour texture. The smooth variants of double slabs and the fully bark variants of logs are now available from the creative inventory, and the grass path blocks and farmland blocks are now available from the creative inventory as well. Beds will now be destroyed, they pop off when their support blocks are removed, so you can't have beds in mid-air anymore. If you activate a lever, that will now produce a redstone particle, and blocks that used to have no bottom texture, like repeaters and comparators and torches and so on, now have a bottom texture. Note blocks, they can now be moved by pistons, and iron trapdoors had a bug where they were staying open when their power source was moved away. That is fixed in this version. Blocks and items that were only different by data value are now listed separately in the statistics, so you can now see the different types of stone in there, for instance. There is a new item in this version as well that is only available by a command. It's called the debug stick, debug_stick. This item looks like an enchanted stick, and you can use it to cycle through block states. You can use left click to cycle between the different block states of an object that you're looking at, and then you can use right click or shift right click to change the value of that block state. You can see what you're doing in the action bar text. With this item you can actually produce blocks that have unavailable block states. So for instance, you can produce a freestanding stair block with a corner configuration, or you can do weird things to chests, like you can produce a single chest that looks like a double chest, so you can walk straight through it, or even place it so it looks like it goes through other blocks. But on the flip side, you can also produce a completely invisible chest. There's a new recipe as well, a firework recipe with fade, that's a firework star, and dice. And you couldn't craft shapeless recipes if you are using named or enchanted ingredients, and that is fixed in this version. Finally, you were able to use falling sand to go through cobblestone walls, that is fixed in this version as well. To talk a little bit about the technical backend of this update, many of these fixes and the fact that we are able to now add more blocks is because of something that is called the flattening. The block ID limit has been removed and the world format has changed, and the blocks are now stored in palleted chunks. This means that we can now finally have more than 256 types of blocks in the game. With this, data values have been removed from the game. There are no data values anywhere anymore, including inside of commands. Item aux values are also gone. There are no item aux values in commands or anywhere else. This also means that a bunch of the block and item names or type IDs have changed. There is, for instance, no longer a wool block with a data value. Instead, there is now blue_wool, red_wool, and so on. For commands, this version also includes a whole bunch of bug fixes and continued development from previous snapshots. There are now command autocomplete suggestions for block and item arguments, and there's now an option in chat to toggle automatic command suggestions. So if you have that turned on, it will automatically suggest for you. If not, then you have to press tab to bring it up. Tab completion also didn't change the case of characters that you had typed already before you hit tab, and using a space to complete the command would add 2 spaces. Previously, you could get an invalid syntax error if you tried to use decimal values on block position arguments, and relative decimal coordinates with block-related commands were acting inconsistently. You're also unable to use decimals in the speed parameters of the particle command. Some commands didn't work at all, /gamerule and /tellraw for instance, and the /blockdata command was still present even though it should have been replaced by /data. Also a couple of permissions issues. It was possible to teleport things to infinity or not a number. That is prevented in this version, and the normal players were able to use player selectors inside /message commands. That is fixed in this version as well. Some fixes for selectors. Selectors and scoreboards didn't work for signs or /tellraw and /title commands. And the distance filters didn't work inside game loop functions. /setBlock didn't update blocks needing support and certain powered states of blocks. And the redstone lamps and wire updated whether they were lit or not when you set blocked them, which would immediately change the state of the block that you just set blocked. You're also unable to use block states in /give, /clear, and /replace item. That is fixed in this version. Scoreboard fixes: if you used /trigger the first time on a player, that would give you a score of 0 without updating the scoreboard display. And as a more general fix, there was a scoreboard desync issue involving scores of 0. You could also get an unknown scoreholder error if you used a placeholder asterisk in some commands. /scoreboard players get didn't work properly for read-only objectives, and you were unable to add 0 to a player's score. Some file-related things as well. The datapack order didn't persist if you closed a world. /datapack disable didn't refresh the advancements available for a player, and functions, advancements, and loot tables would allow other file types than .mc function and .json to be loaded in. Those are all fixed in this version, and finally, there are also a couple of command-related crash fixes. Now, important things to know before you rush off and try this snapshot. This is a highly experimental snapshot. It will definitely break some things, and as always, world formats do not downgrade. So if you open a world in this snapshot, you are then stuck with a world on this snapshot. So, as usual, if you want to try this one out, do so on a backup or on a separate test world. Now to try it out, head into your Minecraft launcher, go into the launch options and switch on Enable Snapshots there. Click OK to the message, head back to the News tab, and now you'll have a new option under the Play button drop down. It will be Latest Snapshot, select that and start the game to play on the latest Snapshot version, which is actually not this one, it's Minecraft 17w47b. A fix-up released today, and a video for that one as well will be along shortly. That was all for this time though. My name is slicedlime, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.